Next.
The Kingsmen's 40th anniversary reunion recording from NQC in 1995 has been re-released in a remixed and remastered version from Horizon Records. Dunaway Music has released Titanic, the first recording by the Valines Trio. It was produced by Tammy Dunaway, and it's also the first recording on the new Dunaway Music label. Ernie Haas and Signature Sound have a new single called Wake Up. It was written by Ernie Haas, Wayne Hahn, and Joel Lindsay, and it premiered on the debut episode of the Friday Night Sing Facebook series. Legacy 5 and the Wardlaw Brothers have released a collaboration called 9 Makes Us One. It was written by Luther Wardlaw and produced by Tyrone Dickerson and Luther Wardlaw. That's a look at some of the happenings in the world of Southern Gospel. You can keep up with the latest Southern Gospel news by reading SGN Scoops Digital Magazine. Take a look at their website at sgnscoops.com. And you can find more Southern Gospel news at our website, gospelmusictoday.com.
We have been on the road.
Yes, we have. We've been to Creekside Gospel Music Convention a year or so ago, and Gold City was there. I believe we have a clip.
Yes, we do.
Well, I'm not giving up. No, I'm not turning around. By the grace of God, I'll win a shining crown someday, and I'm gonna keep holding on to that nail-scarred hand. I'm not giving up. No, I'm going on. I've been walking through the valley, spell of tears. Times I've even questioned, even if my Lord was near. Many times that old tempter, he says, oh, why not turn around? You can't get any farther because you're just losing ground. Oh, but I'm not giving up. Who's with me? And I'm not turning around. By the grace of God, I'll win a shining crown someday, and I'm gonna keep holding on. Yes, I will, to that nail-scarred hand. I'm not giving up. I know I'm going on. Now, mind to tell me there's been something bothering me? Why is it that old devil, he just won't let God's children live? You see, he has purpose and determined, oh, to get right in the way and turn us from the ways of life and lead our souls astray. Oh, but I'm not giving up, and I'm not turning around. By the grace of God, I'll win a shining crown someday, and I'm gonna keep holding on. Yes, I will, to that nail-scarred hand. I'm not giving up. I know I'll keep going on. Well, I'm not giving up. No, I'm not turning around. By the grace of God, I'll win a shining crown someday, and I'm gonna keep holding on to that nail-scarred hand. Oh, no, I'm not giving up. I know I'm not giving up. No, I'm not turning around. By the grace of God, I'm gonna win a shining crown someday. And I'll keep holding on to that nail-scarred hand.
give up no matter what the devil throws at you. Oh, come on. That's right.
Turn it around. By the grace of my God, I'm gonna win a shining crown someday. And I'll keep holding on to that nail-scarred head. I give it up. I know I'll keep going. You gotta keep pressing. You gotta keep going.
We do enjoy the Creekside Gospel Music Convention. We always look forward to seeing Gold City. They are celebrating 4 decades of quartet singing.
That's right. Who has a birthday this week?
Happy birthday to Bill Shivers. Bill sings with Brian Free and Assurance. His birthday is November 26.
And we wish a happy birthday to all our Southern Gospel friends.
We have more exclusive concert video coming up in today's program, but first, Jean has been listening to some new music.
The Regals have a new CD called On Track. It opens with Back to the Well and also includes Dream On, Give Me Jesus, I Want to Hear the Trumpet Blow, In Christ Alone, and my favorite, They Can't Take That Away From Me. That's On Track by the Regals.
This is a concert update from Gospel Music Today. Louisville Gospel Concerts hosts Carolina in Stanley, North Carolina on December 5 at 5 p.m. If you're looking for a concert near you, check the search engine at gospelgigs.com, and you can always use the links at our website, gospelmusictoday.com.
In 1969, God brought 3 college students together in Illinois to form the Helmsmen. Although reorganized many times through the years, the current group is in Mount Vernon, Ohio. The lineup has changed over the years, but the zest for ministry has continued. God has used the Helmsmen to minister to thousands of people through hundreds of church services and concerts. Many people have been saved, and many more have been encouraged to continue in their Christian faith. Over the years, the Helmsmen have recorded 18 albums and have traveled from New York to Pennsylvania, Ohio, Massachusetts, New Jersey, Indiana, Illinois, and Michigan. Members of the quartet are Gary Morgan, Paul Russell, Ken Eash, and Robert Small. You can find out more about this week's feature group at helmsmanquartet.com. Coming up next on Gospel Music Today, Ken visits with Bill Lindsay. Welcome back to Gospel Music Today.
From a few years ago at the National Quartet Convention, we spoke to Bill Lindsay. Bill is the grandson of Stuart Hamblin, and he knows everything there is to know about Stuart Hamblin's music. That's up next on Gospel Music Today. We are at the National Quartet Convention, and before I introduce this guy, I want to tell you that Jean's choir back at our church back at home, one of their favorite songs, It Is No Secret, and I know that's the favorite song of a lot of people. We know who the writer was. We know a little bit about the song, but I want to tell you that Bill Lindsay is with me. And Bill, welcome to Gospel Music Today.
Well, thank you, Ken. Appreciate you guys having me on the show. So, yeah, my grandfather was Stuart Hamblin, who wrote It Is No Secret as well as a few other songs, This Old House, Known Only to Him, Until Then, Teach Me, Lord, to Wait, How Big Is God? I can keep going. Yeah. So he did a lot of great songs, especially in this industry. And he was one of those amazing men that did a lot of things. And you mentioned It Is No Secret. We could talk a little bit about It Is No Secret. One of the things that happened is at the time he had been, well, let's just say he was known in Los Angeles for being a rebel rouser. A few other things. And when he became saved, what happened was everybody wanted to know how he was able to stay off alcohol. That was a big part of his life. And one evening at John Wayne's house, this all happened at John Wayne's house, John had just finished a movie, and so it was kind of after a movie party, and so they all went over to his house, and they were sitting there, and all the guys were kind of sitting around talking, and one of the guys looked at Stuart and said, Stuart, how have you been able to handle not handling alcohol? I mean, that kind of takes over, and it did over his life. And he looked right at him and he said, it is no secret what God can do in a man's life. And as that evening, as my grandparents were walking to the door, John's walking them back. And John said, Stuart, those are pretty powerful words you said. You should really consider writing a song about that. So they lived next door to the Waynes. They walked around the hedge and into their house, and my grandmother went up to put her hair up in curlers. They did that back then. And my grandfather knew he had about 40 minutes to kill. So as he sat down at the organ, the grandfather clock struck midnight. And he grabs a pencil and starts writing, "The chimes of time ring out the news. Another day is through. Someone slipped and fell. Was that someone you?" And believe it or not, song in its entirety, lyrics and all, 17 minutes is how long it took him to write that song. And what a powerful song it is. What a powerful song.
Now tell us about the Billy Graham Crusade connection.
Well, Billy was, my grandmother had heard Billy Graham speak at a place called Forest Home, which was a Christian retreat in Los Angeles area. And my grandfather was raised by J.H. Hamblin, who was the founder of the Evangelical Methodist movement. And so he knew how he was supposed to live his life, but he sort of rebelled against that. And so what happened was my grandmother heard Billy and said, boy, if anybody could reach Stewart, it would be that Billy Graham, young Billy Graham. Well, there was a woman at Hollywood Presbyterian that had a Bible study, and the Bible study was out of Hollywood Press, and her name was Henrietta Mears. And Henrietta had a lot of incredible people come to that Bible study. Bill Bright and Vonette Bright came out of that Bible study as well. And so what happened from Campus Crusade? And so what happened was Billy was there, and my grandmother sort of tricked my grandfather into coming to the Bible study. He didn't want to go, but she came dressed downstairs, dressed to the hilt, and said, "Stuart, please come with me. Everybody thinks I'm single because you never show up." And so she goaded him into coming, and he did. Well, unbeknownst to him, it was just Billy, Stuart, my grandmother, and Henrietta. So the women just disappeared off into the kitchen, leaving the two gentlemen. And they hit it off. They had a great time. And so they were talking, and my grandfather said, "Stuart, Billy, when you actually want to come and do this tent crusade, you come on, we'll put you on the air." And at the time, he was actually the #1 radio personality on the West Coast. And so that's what happened. He promoted the radio show, on the radio show, promoted the tent crusade. And basically what happened was they all had a great time. People came, but my grandfather didn't. He's really felt conviction at that tent crusade, and I can't understand why. And so it was really kind of funny. He usually sit front row center. Well, Billy used to talk about the rich young ruler in his speech. And every time he talked about the rich young ruler, he'd point right down to where my grandfather was. And my grandfather said, "Well, I'm not sitting there anymore. I'm going to sit over on this side over here." So he goes to that. And Billy Graham would go, "The rich young ruler," and point right over there where he was. And he'd go, "I'm sitting on the other side." And he'd go over there. He said it didn't matter where he'd sit. Billy would point right to where he was. And he says, it's just unbelievable. So conviction set upon him. And one evening, actually it was one evening late, he decided that he was going to go out and just not go to any more of these. And what happened was he came back from going out and visiting, shall we say, the alcohol establishments. And he came back and he laid in bed and he actually took his boot off and he threw them against the wall. My grandmother didn't even want to move. And she said, "Baby, you awake?" And she said, "Yes, I'm awake." And he said, "All my life I've known what I'm supposed to have been doing. And all my life I've rebelled against it." And she said, "Well, Stuart, why?" And he said, "Because I didn't want the life I grew up with to be for you and our daughters." And so what happened was she said, "Well, Stuart, we would have done anything. We would have gone with you anywhere you went. Whatever you did, we would have done it." He goes, "Billy did this to me." The conviction really was on his heart. "Billy did this to me. I'm going to call him." "Well, Stuart, you can't call him. It's 3 o'clock in the morning." "I'm calling him." And he did. He picked up the phone, dialed Billy, and Billy didn't want to talk to him. Billy said, "I want to talk to you face to face." And so they did. They got dressed really fast. It was 4 o'clock in the morning, 4:30 in the morning. Went down to see Billy, and that was October 18th, 1949. He accepted Christ, and from that point on, that's where everything started happening.
Now, Bill has a treasure chest of gospel music history, Christian history, really. How can we find out more?
We have a website all about Stuart. It's www.hamblinmusic.com. That's www.hamblenmusic.com. And we've got everything there. I've got stories, I've got photographs, I've got